Kia ora, good morning, morena. So, as the sun's coming up, I need to make this video because the bit that I'm about to edit on to this video that I'm making needs some explaining. Now that the event has actually happened, I'm a little bit in shock, to be honest, because when I was recording the codes the other day, I didn't realise what the heck I was recording until the event has actually happened. And now I've deciphered the codes. I'm in shock, like I'm in shock. I posted a lightning bolt the other day on X, and then the earthquake happened in Boston, and I know what that was all about. But then we had this plane crash over Washington. Was it? Yeah, it was over Washington, over DC, with this plane crash where the helicopter has crashed into the plane. And I'm trying not to read. I know, I think it said there's no survivors. The brief look that I had, I mean, it looks horrendous. But I'm trying not to look into it. When these things happen after I've recorded a jump, I try not to investigate it until I'm pretty much told to jump in. I'm fed information rather than I go looking for it. I'm fed the information and then I'll investigate that information, but I don't put any codes and theories and that together until like everything is precise and in a row now. Like I've learned to do that through, how I had to teach myself to document the codes. Like I understand it now. I'm in perfect control of where I fly and where I go, and what fractal I have to go off in, and that I can hold the codes, I can hold the phases steady in the atmosphere now with perfect accuracy. And when I go in now, I go in and I hit the mark, and I don't have to worry anymore. I'm confident now with how I document my codes and while I'm actually in the middle of the jump. So the other day I recorded 2 jumps. You're going to hear at the end of the second video me talking about police being lambs to the slaughter. That is me referring to the first jump I recorded. I can't go into that. I just know that you don't need to worry that it ends up being a really, really good thing, and you just have to trust me that what I recorded ends up liberating the police. That's all I can say. I got my answers, so I will release that jump when it's time. But so I just had to explain that because I don't want anyone listening to worry. The bit that you're about to hear is in regards to Donald Trump and the plane crash, helicopter crash. Like, now that the event has happened and I've listened to what I've recorded, I understand what it was I was seeing. And I think that the lightning bolt is possibly the one I recorded the other day that created the earthquake over Boston and all of that, to trigger a warning, basically not to mess with this whole Robert Kennedy thing, that he's been here specifically to do a work for God. He has been named basically the third trine in the Holy Trinity of the, for the New World, you know how the Illuminati have got their triangle. It's a false triangle. You know, it's like the Illuminati one. The three kings of David bloodline are the New World, like the good one, the godly, the God version, the holy version. The Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit being Vladimir Putin as the father, because he's going to be, you know, the president of the New World, the, you know, the New Jerusalem. He's getting all of that, and then the Son, I think, is Robert Kennedy, and the Holy Spirit being Nayib Bukele, president of El Salvador. Um, so they're to make up the trine in the New World to secure the second coming of Christ. So if you go to my X, like I've deciphered all the codes there, I've figured it all out. So, you know, where people are starting to have dreams about, you know, the second coming as well, and the light is starting to spread, and, you know, people of faith are starting to wake up because they're all starting to see that there is definitely a shift between, you know, darkness and light, that the light is starting to shine through. People are starting to realize, oh my God, we're actually in the end of days. We're in the book of Revelation. Like this stuff is actually real and it's happening right now. You know, so that's why I keep saying to people, don't forget, it doesn't matter what the devil or, you know, Lucifer and that say or do out there in the world. The Bible clearly states that this is their downfall. So I've been trying to warn Donald Trump that he was walking into darkness, that he was teetering on the edge of darkness, and that Father wanted to have a meeting with him, that Father wanted to have a word because he wasn't listening. He was saying and doing very dark things, you know, to try and counteract good things he was doing. And it's like he can't see the danger of where he's headed. And then I recorded this jump that you're about to hear, and now it makes sense. And obviously, I think Donald Trump and Melania being in that jump and the shock isn't him being struck by lightning. It's like you know, like when you have a shock and your central nervous system, like, gives you an electric shock, like you feel that surge of electricity go down your head, you know, into your chest. And, you know, when you have that, you know, when you have a shock and you get hit with that boom of energy, that's the lightning bolt. It feels like a lightning bolt. It does feel like you've been struck by lightning because it hits the top of your head and goes down your face. Like you literally feel the surge of electricity of the shock. You know, when you get the surge of adrenaline, um, you know, like you sit up, you get a shock, you get a fright, you'll react, you'll jump just like you would. It's like an etheric bolt of lightning. Imagine being struck by Thor's hammer in real life, or, you know, a lightning bolt from Zeus or Neptune or God. The shock. Because what's happening is people are starting to blame Donald Trump for being the cause of the crash, and because it was a military helicopter um, that struck the plane, which would be a slow motion bolt of lightning, or if you sped it up, it would look like a bolt of lightning from the side. So I saw when I put that X up of that blue bolt of lightning that said boom, and then we had the earthquake and, you know, Maine and all of that. I must have been seeing the electricity forming because I read codes in the phases, you know, in the ionosphere. I read the particles in the ionosphere. They're codes to me, and when I tune into them, I see pictures in my head, and I've learned to slow it down enough that I can um, paint the picture, so to speak, describe what it is that I'm seeing enough that you'll get in, you know, you'll be able to see what it is I'm talking about. And then when the event happens, on them able to like pick it apart and say, oh well, that happened because that happened and that happened. And it's not necessarily that the picture I'm seeing is describing one event. It could be that I'm describing multiple events happening at once, but I've learned to compact it down into one story and fit it into um, like a bigger atom, which would be getting into your imagination. You'll see what it is I'm talking about in your head and go, oh, that's what she was talking about. And oh my God, yeah, she did say that was going to happen. That's that. It means you've been able to read my codes and it'll make sense. And that bolt of lightning that I think stopped his heart is going to be the shock of him realizing that God is holding him responsible for that plane crash. People are saying it's because he made cuts to the FAA. That hurts my heart to say that. The paramedic pumping on his heart. Because, yeah, that really hurts to say that. But I warned him. God was going to... What did I say in the video when I was recording the jumps? The Donald Trump one, I said, God, it's like he's going to come face to face with death. I had naturally assumed on a logical level, because you always have to go with logic first. Always, always. When something happens and you don't know how to react, always go with logic first, then doubt, and then reason will come in, and then you'll have your epiphany. You'll find your answer, right? So you go with the logical thing first, and the logical thing was, oh, maybe he's going to get struck by lightning. People are out playing golf all the time, but when I see Donald Trump, I always see him playing golf, because him and his golf in Florida playing golf, and that it's almost like the epitome of the American Donald Trump, right? So I always go there with him, which is why I mentioned golf. But I think that unless he was playing golf when he got the news, or I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know, but what I do know is that what I saw is God's going to hold him responsible for what's just happened. And the shock, I think, is going to knock him back a bit. And he's going to have like a crisis of conscience. And God is making him choose. Are you the good guy or are you the bad guy, because you're messing around in my name is killing people, and now it's killing your own people. It's one thing to okay the sanctioning of killing people when it's not your people, but now your actions and your decisions are killing your people. And I'm not going to have that, because America has to be in the trine. I don't know why America has to be in the trine. I think it's because there needs to be maybe backups. Like if Russia failed in securing the New Jerusalem, if they did something that ensured that God decided they weren't the New Jerusalem, it has to go to one of the other two. It has to either go to El Salvador, where the second coming would happen, or America, where the second coming would happen. I think it's because they're in close proximity to each other. It was supposed to be Great Britain, but the king, we've lost the king, like we're going to lose the monarchy. The Commonwealth, we're going to get broken up now. So he's been moved from the equation. And with Donald Trump failing, with Donald Trump descending in the eyes of God, he's had to put in a replacement, and I nominated Robert Kennedy, and it looks like, Robert Kennedy is, regardless of what they do to that man, I think his bloodline is going to, replace what was potentially offered to Donald Trump's bloodline is going to be handed over to the Kennedy bloodline through Robert Kennedy to become the trine. So Robert Kennedy, Nayib Bukele, and Vladimir Putin will secure the world enough that God is going to feel comfortable allowing the conception of the second coming, of the new Messiah. And it sounds crazy, and I got looked up for this stuff, but if you go to my ex, everybody else is starting to agree with me. Everybody else all over the world is starting to see and say exactly the same thing. They're all starting to realise, and the evidence is there. You can't deny it. It's undeniable. I find it interesting as well that Donald Trump is using a lot of my policies for my "if I was Prime Minister" speech that I made, putting America under a bubble and removing all foreign funding and just focusing on rebuilding America. Or I said put Great Britain under a bubble and just get rid of any spending outside of the country that isn't trade based, and pour all the money back into the country. He's copied my manifesto. So, I mean, I guess that's a compliment. So, yeah, so I'm going to tag in the jump now, but I just had to explain it. Don't take what you're about to hear literally, because these are fractals. This was what in the Bible is called a bilocation, or a bilocation jump, a double jump, being in two places at once. But a lot of times the stuff that I record now it can be anywhere up to 7, 8, 9, 10 events I'm seeing, just through one stream of codes that I read in the ionosphere and the atomic particles, because obviously there's electricity and like negative and positive ionic particles in our atmosphere and the air we breathe and blah blah blah, which is why they keep firing stuff into the sun and trying to cover up the sun and that, because they're trying to block how we use intuition. But it doesn't work like that. They're morons. Like it's actually scary how little these people like Bill Gates and Elon Musk and that actually know about the science of the universe. They do not understand energy at all. They're so they think on such a logical level. It's their thoughts are heavy in gravity, and it weighs them down. Is the only way I can, like, their thoughts get weighed down by the density of the gravity of how illogical their logic is. That makes sense to me. Um, they're trying to mess with, like, the radiation and the magnetism and that in the atmosphere. They want to bounce the sun's reflection back. Oh, like Archimedes, like artards, like, oh my god. Like, we have a great idea. This is how we're going to work with climate change. We're going to bounce the sun's light back to itself. I mean, like, that's the sort of stuff you see in a Despicable Me movie. Like, wherever the sun shines, there's going to be radiation. And are they going to literally cover every single part of the earth with their solar panels to bounce the sun back? Because that's what they would have to do, because there would always be ways for radiation to get through the stratosphere. There will always be a way. And if it wasn't through the sun, it would be coming off the moon or Jupiter or what. But look, I mean, and there's suns everywhere. So are they going to do it to every sun? Like, they're literally trying to control the evolution of the universe through the most retarded ways of doing it, that it's embarrassing and laughable that any of these people became billionaires. I'm as poor as a church mouse, and I know more about this stuff than them, and I got kicked out of school at 14. So that that begs the question, and I'm going to put links in the description box below, but I would suggest that you also go to like X and social media and that and see what people are saying, because they've already managed to grab um, the flight path of the helicopter, and you know what happened to the controls and all that sort of thing. And remember, in my jump I talk about the HARP and the energy weapons, and or did I mention that in the Trump one? I know I mentioned it in the first one regarding the police, but nothing happens by coincidence when it comes to me recording my jump. So I'm wondering whether that helicopter was forced to crash into the plane. That it was basically maybe the helicopter pilot didn't have an option about where the helicopter was going. It sounds like he either let go of the controls or lost control of the controls but couldn't fight it, sort of thing. So I'm wondering whether this wasn't done on purpose so that Donald Trump could be held responsible, and who are the people that own these energy weapons? Who's the ones that are investing in it all? It always comes back to people like Soros and Gates and Elon Musk. Every natural disaster that has been happening in America since Donald Trump was running for his election and won the election, I've been able to trace back to the Democrats and Elon Musk, including all his assassination attempts, which is why I keep saying he's in the doorway to darkness. He's surrounded. He's in a lair surrounded by spiders, and he thinks they're kittens. And now God has just allowed this to happen, and he allows everything to happen, good or bad, to be Donald's wake-up call to say, you have to choose now, mate. Do you want to do the right thing by me, or do you want to continue signing your soul to the devil, because now your actions or your inactions or your inability to act is killing innocent people in your name, and you are going to be held responsible. And once the American people hold him responsible, he will lose his presidency. They will get him out. And God is planning on replacing him with Robert Kennedy, because he's done it the right way. And Donald Trump's been given enough chances. Look, the crows are crowing. Crows are the totem for law and order and justice. So I'll put links in the description box below so you can go to the X and see what's been said. And I'm gonna zip the two videos together, so the next part you're gonna hear after this is my recording of the jump from Sunday, I think it was. So I warned him, though. I warned him enough times for months. I warned him, and it'll get worse the angrier Father gets, and when God is angry, he turns into Satan. And that's why I'm a good girl, because I don't ever want to meet Satan. Not Satan when he's doing his job, no, because he protects. He is the God of the pure and innocent. Believe it or not, Satan is the God of the pure and innocent. Satan protects the pure and innocent. He gets so angry when he has to deal with those who hurt the pure and innocent that God turns into Satan. You know, like a mama bear, a mother bear. A bear can be all loving and cute and blah, 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 but when that bear becomes a mama and it's got its cubs around, it will rip you to shreds and eat you alive, and but the bear can switch just like that. That's God and Satan. God will love you as long as you're pure and living and working by his word and being the best version of yourself and trying to maintain balance and all that sort of thing. But if you do anything to mess with his vibe, he can turn. He's a jealous God. He's an angry God when you meet his wrath. And this is Donald Trump starting to feel God's wrath because he's not listening. So, America, just be prepared. You might be getting a replacement president or something. Just what Donald Trump does next, the side he chooses was going to seal his fate. But what America needs to know is that you do not need to worry because God is on it and everything happens for a reason. And if it turns out he does choose the wrong side and gets removed from the equation of where America is going forward, you're going to end up with a better replacement. Because Robert Kennedy is smashing Donald Trump and Elon Musk in those popularity polls, and that people are seeing a completely different side to him that they didn't even know was there, and it's made them fall in love with him. And his family deserved that. Kennedy, I mean, his family deserved that. His family, his father and his uncle paid the ultimate sacrifice, where for decades, well, it was an inside job. His father and uncle paid the ultimate sacrifice for being, the lambs to the slaughter, and it was an inside job, which is now happening to Trump, funnily enough. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Just know that God's got your back. You're completely fine. God's got your back. You don't need to worry about a thing. It's this government that it's your president that needs to sit up and take notice, because God's about to flick him over the edge, and then he's not going to have a choice what side he falls down, because God's just going to kick him into the abyss, which is exactly how the Quantum Menace ended. So, watch this space, eh? God bless. Mwah. That he just said directly is that he's about to have a meeting with Donald Trump face to face. I assumed maybe that meant a dream or something, but then he said he's going to have a near-death experience, that he's literally about to meet God. He's about to come face to face with death. So I said to Father, is it like, I think it's going to be maybe like some sort of accident, car, plane, helicopter, something, but it's going to scare the shit out of him, and his life's going to flash before his eyes, and he's going to realise the trouble he's in with God, and it's going to be the deciding factor as to whether he becomes the mark of the beast in the Bible, or whether he ascends and gets saved and does the right thing by humanity. But God's just said he's called a meeting with Donald face to face. So I think Donald's about to have a near-death experience where he's going to have to pick sides. I think his life is about to flash before his eyes, and it doesn't feel like it's another assassination attempt. It feels like it's an act of God. And I keep thinking one plane, one car. No, what was it? One plane, one train, one boat. all an act of God, I think it was. It was a GNN news flash. So I don't know if his plane or his helicopter or car, I don't know. I don't know, but he's going to end up. Is he going to end up in hospital? He's going to go quiet for a few days, but I don't know if that means because he's going to be in hospital or because the shock of because it's like whatever God's about to do to meet him, he's going to know he's standing in front of Father. He's going to know. As soon as it happens, it's almost like he's going to think, shit, Debbie was right. Holy shit, what have I done? Like as the plane's falling or as the helicopter's falling or as it crashes or as whatever, it's an act of God though. Nobody else is involved, so it's not like, a pilot nosediving anything. Like it's going to be like an engine cuts out or an act of God. And it's going to scare the crap out of him. And I think a lot of people aren't going to be happy, but it has to happen because he's got to choose. He can't go bragging about saving tens of thousands of human trafficked children and then brag about how he's going to let them ethnically cleanse Palestinians. You can't be an angel and a devil at the same time. He's portraying, it's like smoke and mirrors. He's playing some sort of dangerous game, and I don't know if he has some sort of cunning strategy, which knowing him, he probably does. But at the same time, if God's saying that he's calling a meeting with Donald Trump and that he's about to come face to face with death, like properly, I can see paramedics and I can is that him lying on the ground? They're working on someone, they're pumping someone's chest. The paramedics, are pumping someone's chest. I'm being move, paramedic, move. I can just see a blue suit. And I can see Melania. There's just like this feeling of shock. Like a bolt of lightning. It's like a bolt of lightning is going to come out of the blue and strike their helicopter or something. Or strike their plane. Or he's going to be playing golf and he's going to get struck by lightning or something. That's what it is. I wonder if it's because of these bloody harp things, like God's going to mess with something. It's like he's going to get struck by lightning, or his car or his plane or his helicopter or something is going to get struck by lightning. And it might stop his heart for a little bit. Or he might be electrocuted, or I don't know, but I can see paramedics working on someone's heart struck by lightning. Is Donald Trump going to get struck by lightning? But he's going to need rest for a few days, and I think the shock of whatever it is that's about to happen to him is going to mess with his head, because it's like he's not going to it's like I can't believe that happened. Debbie said it was going to happen. Debbie said this was going to happen. I can't believe it. And then it's almost like he's going to have to deal with himself. Am I really a bad person? Am I really evil? Have I really done something bad? Or am I really, is this really bad? Or was I really brainwashed? Was I really truly brainwashed? It's like, what's the word I'm looking for? Contemplating his fate, contemplating his purpose, contemplating, how did I get myself into this mess? That's it. How the hell did this happen? How the hell did I get myself into this mess? That's it. I thought these people were my friends. I thought this was legit. I didn't realize I didn't realize I was investing in something that was the doorway to darkness. I didn't realize I was investing in something that was evil. I thought I was doing good. It's that kind of thing. How the hell did this happen? How was I so blind? How was I so stupid? How did I not see it? Why didn't I listen? It's all that kind of thing. I think he's going to get struck by lightning, struck down. Yeah. Well, we're just going to have to wait and see. I'm not making it public. I'm just leaving it here. And then if anything happens, then I'll make it public. But for now, I just need to pray for those poor police officers that are about to be lambs to the slaughter.